Good evening.
To Rust, Sweat and ADOs. In tonight's video, I'm going to introduce a new project. I don't know why YouTubers bother to do such grand reveals of their project cars, because generally in the video title it tells you what the car's going to be anyway. Which is no different for me really. So tonight we're going to be working on my 1968 Magenta kit car. A little bit different to the last time you saw it. We put the roof on top, mainly just to stop it from shrinking. The roof does a token gesture at keeping the water out, and as you probably saw in the cleanup video, I can't get in and out of it with the roof on, but we do keep it on the car because it keeps some of the dust out because it is filthy. Our plan is to do some maintenance on the car, so oil filter changes and stuff like that. I'm planning on taking a road trip around Wales in it in a couple of weeks' time. Or maybe the Mini will be used instead. I'm not sure yet. One thing that I want to do is I want to change the carburetor, because at the moment it's got HS4, which is tiny. Because it's got a 1300 GT engine, it should have twin HS2s. And also it's got twin side exit exhausts, which you would expect to be really loud. But they're just not. I'm a little bit nervous about putting this on the lift. I've never had a Magenta in the air before, so I don't know what's quite going to happen, but we'll see. And yeah, let's get it in the air. Let's have a look underneath. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is I'll start it up and I'll show you the problem that I have with the exhaust. So with this, dead easy. Pull the choke out, turn the key. And there we go. As you can tell, the exhaust is pathetic. It sounds terrible. So we're going to upgrade it with a LCB with a 2-inch system right the way to the back, and a side exit exhaust that will come out the back around about where the spare wheel is. So yeah, let's get it in the air. Let's take a look underneath. So that was actually easier to put on the lift than I expected it to be. For those of you who don't know, the Magenta is based on the Austin 1100, so the front and back subframes are the same. So what I've done is I've put the lift underneath the rear subframe, so it's not going absolutely anywhere. And then under the front chassis, which is again the subframe mount on both sides, so it's fairly stable. I've given it a wobble, it doesn't seem to want to move. It's rather oily under here, so I do need to take a look at that. I haven't really got any clunks or knocks, so there's no real concerns about the suspension. It's just mainly this exhaust system. So let's have a look. It's standard front pipe down to a YP splitter, which is tiny, and then it comes out the side to motorbike cans. Unfortunately, as you'll see, it's not very well attached either. So we're going to rip this exhaust off, and then we will get the new exhaust down and have a look what I'm going to be fitting. For those of you that are interested, the tow bar is mounted to the back bar of the chassis. It's not mounted to the subframe. This car was in an accident a couple of months ago, just before I bought the car. As you can see, that bar's not particularly straight, but it's not really moved. Where it's bolted here to this bar, again, that's a little bit bent, but it's not caused too much damage in the accident. I did originally plan to re-chassis this car, but I don't think it's worth it. This tow bar's fairly stable, and it hasn't really moved at all. So on that note, I'm going to get the grinder out and remove this old exhaust. So there you have it. 3 tools is all you require to remove the exhaust system off a Magenta. I'm sure you agree that you're... So there you have it. All you need is 3 tools to remove an exhaust off a Magenta. That's the standard manifold, standard downpipe, and 2 motorbike cans. I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's pathetic and it shouldn't be on this engine. So we now have a big open space. Odd that it's got the mechanical fuel pump and the electric fuel pump. Don't know why that is. But anyway, now we've got a big space. Let's get the new exhaust out. So, as mentioned before, we're going from this setup, which I think looks quite good, but the bore just isn't enough for the engine, to this setup. It's a 2-inch bore system, LCB manifold with a HIF 44 carburetor. Carburetor is much bigger than the other, which means more fuel. Straight pipe into a vintage Sportex back box, which I was very lucky to find actually in such great condition, but it's a 2-inch system as opposed to 1 1/4. So the engine should breathe a lot better, and also it should run a lot better. So the only thing to do now is to mock it up on the car and see what it looks like. So after much swearing, there's been a slight change of plan. As you can see, the carburetor's fitted, it clears the bulkhead, which is nice. I put the manifold on. This is only mocked up just for the purpose of being able to fit the rest of the exhaust system. So to raise it in the air, I will show you the problem that we have. Excuse the water, I pulled the water pipe off. So, what is the issue? So the problem we have, as you can see, I only have a single branch exhaust. And the reason for that is I completely forgot that the 1100 has cross pin drive shafts. So you can't get both of the tubes down for the LCB. So this is a Cooper 3-into-1 free flow manifold. It's actually my brother's, so I'm just borrowing it for this purpose. Only issue I've got, that's 1 3/4 inches, not 2 inches. So obviously the pipe that I've got, which is here, never comes apart when you want it to. Commence braking. There you go. Joys of YouTube, doing it one-handed. So, the issue I've got, the pipe is too big. So, plan C, which is this pipe here, which is 1 3/4 inches. So that will fit over that. So that will fit over that. I think the tow bar is going to have to go, unfortunately, because it's going to bang. And then from there, out the back. Now what I had hoped is it will clear, which it might actually just about clear. Let me put this down and commenced wiggling. More fiddling and swearing and taking it off and putting it back on again. I think I've got it about where I want it to be. So I don't want it too far under the fiberglass because it will fill the cabin full of smoke. Not that it matters too much, it's an open top car. I didn't want it too much lower than the tow bar because I still wanted to be able to go over speed bumps. So I think this should do. There is a gap. It might bang a little bit, but I don't think it will matter. I need to do something about this joint, and what I'll probably end up doing is hammering it down and then running a weld around this so that it doesn't leak. Coming down here, it fits the front manifold beautifully, so I can just clamp that joint. It clears everything that it needs to clear, so the drive shaft spin and don't knock. So yeah, and I think what I'll do is I'll weld a bracket onto here, around about here, 2 fairly decent bobbins and a bracket underneath that will support it around about there, which will tie it into the tow bar and not bang, because I could do without that if I'm honest in my life. So there you go. Almost fully fitted Magenta exhaust. So that's the end of tonight's update on Project Magenta. As you can see, we've got quite a bit done with the exhaust system. So that's where I'm going to leave it. If you enjoyed this project and you enjoyed the last, then please like and subscribe. And I hope I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye bye.